Imagine a world before the one we know, a world not of dust and gardens, but of radiant beings, cosmic councils, and a divine drama that unfolded long before Adam took his first breath. What if the story of creation you've heard since childhood is only a fragment of a much grander tale? The Bible whispers of a hidden history, a spiritual realm alive with beings called the sons of God, who shouted for joy as God shaped the universe. These weren't humans, not angels in the way we picture them, but something far more mysterious, beings of light and authority, part of God's heavenly family, created before the earth was even formed. Their story isn't just ancient history. It's a mirror to your own purpose, a warning of rebellion, and a promise of redemption that ties directly to you. Let's dive into this breathtaking mystery, peel back the pages of Scripture, and uncover a truth that might just change how you see yourself and your place in God's eternal plan. A cosmic beginning before Eden. Close your eyes and picture this. Before the Garden of Eden, before the serpent, before the fall, there was a heavenly scene bursting with life. Job 38:4-7 paints it vividly. God, the Creator, is laying the foundation of the earth, and the sons of God are there, shouting in awe, their voices echoing with joy as the stars sing. These beings weren't born of earth or shaped from dust like Adam. They were already there, divine spectators to God's masterpiece. Who were they? Angels? Something more? The Bible calls them sons of God, a title that hints at their closeness to the Creator, their role in His cosmic order. These sons of God weren't just floating around with harps. They were part of God's divine council, a heavenly assembly where God, the King of all, presided over beings of immense power. Psalm 89:6 asks, "Who in the skies can compare with the Lord? Who among the sons of God is like Him?" They were in the heavens, not on earth, surrounding God's throne, reflecting His glory. But here's where it gets wild. Some of these beings didn't stay loyal. Their story takes a dark turn, one that ripples into the human story and sets the stage for everything we know. The rebellion that shook the heavens. Now, let's go deeper. Genesis 6:1-4 drops a bombshell. When human beings began to increase on the earth, the sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they took them as wives. Wait, what? These divine beings, these sons of God, crossed a line. They weren't human, yet they stepped into our world, marrying human women and producing offspring called the Nephilim, giants, hybrids, beings that didn't belong. This wasn't just a scandal, it was cosmic treason. The Bible ties this event to the flood, a divine reset to cleanse the earth of the corruption they caused. Who were these sons of God? The Hebrew term, Bana Elohim, points to heavenly beings, not humans. Psalm 29:1 calls them to worship God, and Deuteronomy 32:8 reveals they were assigned to oversee the nations after the Tower of Babel. But some rebelled. The Book of Enoch, a text respected in ancient Jewish circles and echoed in the New Testament, Jude 1-6, 2 Peter 2-4, calls them watchers being sent to guard humanity, but who instead lusted after it, taught forbidden knowledge, and birthed chaos. God's response? Swift judgment. He bound them in chains of darkness, locked in a place called Tartarus, awaiting final judgment. This wasn't just a one-off rebellion. It mirrored another fall, Lucifer's. Isaiah 14:12-15 describes a being, radiant and wise, who said, "I will ascend to heaven. I will make myself like the Most High." Pride consumed him, and he was cast down. Ezekiel 28:12-17 echoes this, painting a picture of a glorious being corrupted by arrogance. The sons of God, like Lucifer, were given power, position, and proximity to God. But some chose rebellion over obedience, and their fall didn't just shake the heavens. It scarred the earth. A world before Adam? Here's where things get even more mind-blowing. What if the earth wasn't always the way Genesis describes it? Genesis 1:1-2 says, In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and void, and darkness was over the surface of the deep. In Hebrew, formless and void, tahu va'ba'u, doesn't just mean empty. It means chaos, desolation, a world in ruin. Isaiah 34:11 uses the same words to describe a land judged by God. Could Genesis 1-2 hint at a world that became chaotic after a divine judgment? This idea, called the gap theory, suggests a span of time between Genesis 1-1 and 1-2. Maybe the earth was once perfect, governed by these sons of God with Lucifer as their prince. But their rebellion, pride, lust, defiance brought ruin. Jeremiah 4:23-26 paints a haunting picture. I looked on the earth, and it was formless and void. There was no man. It's like a flashback to a world before Adam, a world judged and left desolate. When God said, "Let there be light," he wasn't just creating, he was restoring, rebooting a broken world for a new purpose. Why humanity? The heart of God's plan. If God had these glorious sons of God, why create humans? Why make Adam from dust, so fragile, so finite, when he already had beings of light? Psalm 8:4-5 holds the answer. What is man that you are mindful of him? Yet you have made him a little lower than the heavenly beings and crowned him with glory and honor. Humanity wasn't an afterthought. We were God's masterpiece, created to carry his image in a way even the sons of God couldn't. When the sons of God rebelled, God didn't give up. He created us to reflect his glory, to rule the earth. Genesis 1:26-28, to walk with him in a way the fallen sons never could. But the story doesn't stop there. When humanity fell, God sent his only begotten Son, Jesus, to do what no angel or divine being could: live perfectly, die sacrificially, and rise triumphantly. John 1:12 declares, "To all who received him, he gave the right to become children of God." Through Jesus, we're not just saved. We're adopted into God's family, heirs with Christ, Romans 8:17. Your place in the cosmic story. This is where it gets personal. The sons of God were created to reflect God's glory, but many fell. You, though, you're called to rise. Romans 8:19 says, "The creation waits in eager expectation for the revealing of the sons of God." That's you. Not born of celestial fire, but of dust, blood, and faith. You're not just a bystander in this cosmic drama. You're the point. God chose you, redeemed you, and destined you for glory. Every time you choose faith over fear, obedience over rebellion, love over pride, you're stepping into the role the fallen sons abandoned. You're not just fighting personal battles. You're part of a spiritual war that began before time. Ephesians 6:12 reminds us we wrestle against spiritual powers, the same rebels who fell long ago. But their time is short, and their defeat is certain. Through Jesus, you're not just forgiven. You're crowned, seated with him in heavenly places. Ephesians 2-6, called to reign with him forever. Revelation 21-7, a call to embrace your true identity. So, what does this mean for you today? It means you're not a mistake. You're not second-rate. You're a child of God, chosen to carry his glory where others failed. The original sons of God sang at creation but fell into pride. You, redeemed by Jesus, are called to sing a new song, one of grace, victory, and eternal love. Matthew 13:43 promises, "The righteous will shine like the sun in the kingdom of their Father." Will you embrace this? Will you walk in the truth that you're not just dust, but a destined heir? The question I send to whether you good enough, it's whether you allow believe who God says you are. John 8:36 declares, "If the Son sets you free, you are free indeed." You're not bound by the failures of the past, not even the cosmic ones. You're called to a divine inheritance, to live with purpose, to reflect God's heart in a broken world. The final word. The sons of God before Adam were radiant, powerful, part of God's heavenly family. But their story is a warning. Even the closest to God can fall when pride takes hold. Yet their failure isn't the end. God created you to carry His image, to rule where they rebelled, to love where they lusted. Through Jesus, you're not just restored, you're elevated, adopted, and destined for glory. So, friend, what will you do with this truth? Will you live like a child of the Most High? Will you let His Spirit lead you, as Romans 8:14 says, "For all who are led by the Spirit of God are sons of God." This isn't just a story about the past, it's your story. You were made for more than survival. You were born again for sonship. Step into it. Live it. Let the world see the glory you carry. If this stirred your heart, hit that like button. Share your thoughts in the comments. What part of this mystery hit you hardest? Subscribe for more deep dives into the Bible's hidden truths, and share this with someone who's hungry for more. You're not just dust, you're a child of God. Walk in that truth today.